Now, anyone who has battled infertility or knows someone who has knows the impact it can have on their lives. As many as 26% of Kiwis experience infertility during their lifetime. That's roughly 1 in 4 of us. And around 1,750 babies are born each year due to fertility treatments, so approximately 1 in 30 births. But to get to that point of qualifying for funded IVF, you have to fit a range of criteria, including how long you've been trying to get pregnant. Women have to be aged under 39 with a BMI less than 32. Men must have a BMI of under 40. There's a whole lot of other factors too. And here to tell us about their story is Hannah and Manu Fisi'ihoi, with baby Melina, who is how many weeks old now, Hannah?
She's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Gorgeous, absolutely beautiful little bubs. Do you mind sharing your journey and how Melina came about?
It's been a long journey. It's been a lot of loss and tears and heartache. So we've been trying for 7 years. We've done 6 transfers to get her. We've had 2 miscarriages. And it's just been a long journey.
Yeah, yeah.
And to have her here now is just, sorry.
No, please
it's
don't
just crazy.
apologise.
It's just all worth it.
Yeah, and so many ups, so many downs. Manu, what has it been like for you?
Challenging, because I found out it was, in lack of terms, my fault. That I wasn't able to deliver on my end. And so when I found out my BMI was under that threshold, that's when things kind of took a turn, and I kind of didn't want to stay in the relationship as well. And it was just a whole lot of emotions, but throughout it all, like my wife said, it's been an amazing journey, one that we wish not too many couples should go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have her here.
When you say there was a point where you didn't want to continue with the relationship, why was that? What were you feeling?
I was feeling real inadequate, almost less of a man at times, and I just wanted my wife or her as a person to be a mother. And at that point in time, I just didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
Hannah, it must have been hard for you to hear him say that.
Yeah, it's hard when your best friend tells you to go be with someone else because they love you enough that even if it's not with them, go be with someone else and have everything you want. But it was just a matter of getting him to believe that even if we can't have kids, like, I still want to be with you. So it took a couple of years for him to believe that and to stop, telling me to go.
Well, Manu, even when you say it was your fault, it's not really fault, but I know that that's a deep thing that people feel, right? That's really hard thing to come to terms with.
She loves you, Manu.
Yes,
She's here for the long haul.
Absolutely.
And I guess there's the added cultural layer too sometimes in that for Māori and Pacifica families, it's even more, it's kept quiet even more, I guess. It's not really spoken about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can speak on behalf of, even within my own family, it's so taboo for men, especially of Pacifica or even Māori, to talk about things that might be a little bit feminine or things that maybe it's not seen as masculine.
Yeah.
And we tend to hide all those things because we should be providing, or we should have all these things already set in play.
Yeah.
But it's not always the case, and I had to learn that. So I'm, just happy that I get to be in a position now where I can speak to it.
Yeah. Even when you know that it affects so many other people, I think sometimes when you're going through that journey, it's so painful to share, right? Even if you know that someone else has gone through the same thing. Yeah. Because talking about it is hard.
Yeah, I know when we first found out, we scoured the internet looking for other people that we could connect with, but everyone was in America. We didn't know anyone in New Zealand, and so we made the choice to just, didn't matter how hard it got, we'd just share, and hopefully other people who came in after us wouldn't feel alone like we did.
Yeah.
And just even in the Māori and Pacifica community, people that we've known for years, all of a sudden are saying, we've been dealing with this for 4 or 5 years and we didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so that in it of itself is just everything for us.
Well, you know, there will be people potentially watching at home and seeing you share this story, and hopefully that will bring some comfort to them as well. And yeah, I think it's really important that you're sharing this, so I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
It must feel like a miracle holding Melina right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She is, my dad calls her his little miracle, so she definitely is a miracle for us.
And I guess part of it is it's so hard because the process should be such a beautiful, lovely process, but it's when you go through the struggles, it's hard to appreciate it like you should, right?
Yeah, well, just IVF itself isn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like, people just think you do IVF and the first time it's going to work. But there's so many people who have been going even longer than we have, doing more rounds than we have, and they still haven't gotten to where we are.
Yeah.
So
it is tough.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. Do stay with us while we talk to Fertility New Zealand's board member, Juanita Copeland. Juanita, thank you very much for being with us. And just want to ask you, I guess in general terms, do we make people go through too much heartache before they're able to get to a point where they might be able to get funded IVF treatment?
Morning, everyone. And first off, I'd really just like to acknowledge Hannah and Manu for being so generous in sharing their story. It is a really personal experience to go through, so I'm really grateful that they've been able to trek a newborn across the city early in the morning to share their story today. You are right, people go through a lot of heartache before even reaching the point of qualifying for publicly funded fertility treatment, and that's something that we would love to see change. There's also a lot of heartache just in trying to conceive naturally, spending months and months and months every month for years and years without success can be such a burden to carry.
Yeah, and what is the waiting list time like once you get accepted?
It varies by region, but at the moment I believe it's around 12 to 18 months. A big thing with infertility is time. Time is everything. Your window for natural fertility plummets every month once you turn about 32 for women, so time is of the essence. Getting to the point of applying for publicly funded treatment generally means you've been through months, if not years, of heartache. So then facing another 12 to 18 months or 5 years if your diagnosis is unexplained infertility, that's incredibly hard to swallow.
And is the infertility rates equal among men and women? Like I think we often talk, or we hear more about women struggling. But are there more men out there that struggle that we just don't really hear about?
It's really equal in a same-sex, in a heterosexual partnership. It's just as likely to be male factor infertility, female factor infertility, or a combination of both. So it's really hard to, it's not just a female thing. It is perceived sometimes as being more heavily weighted towards the woman, because even if it's male factor infertility, it's generally the woman who has the more invasive side of, say, an IVF treatment.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That is Juanita Copeland, from Fertility New Zealand board member, along with Hannah and Manu Fisi'ihoi this morning in studio with baby Melina. And look, we've spoken a lot about the challenges, but I think it's important to point out that there's reason for optimism and hope too, because we've got baby Melina here obviously on the couch.
Very cute.